Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. I started this job in December of 2018. The team was small with just 7 of us including me. Quickly after I started, it became clear that 5 of my 6 coworkers didn't like me at all. The bullying started off subtly, by them just ignoring me. I was aware of what they were doing, so after a little while of this, I began mirroring their behavior. They did not like that, so it escalated. I began to develop migraines from the stress. As much as it didn't bother me in the beginning, there's only so long you can tolerate this kind of behavior before it starts to have an effect on you. By this point, it had been several months. The migraine started to affect my attendance regularly. Of course, they didn't like that either, and things continued to escalate. The manager knew what was happening, but nothing changed. Well, anyway, I wanted another baby, so my husband and I decided to use a job for what it was worth. A nice 9-month-long paid maternity leave. So, about 1 year after I started the job, I became pregnant. Then came my birthday. I was expecting nothing, of course, but I got a card and some chocolates from, quote, the girls. That means that my only coworker who didn't hate me got me the chocolates, and she signed it from the girls because she didn't want to get me nothing. Chocolate up to pregnancy hormones, but when she gave it to me, I of course knew that it was only from her, and I cried my little eyes out. This happened on Thursday. The next day, I asked my manager to work alone. I'm a hospital phlebotomist, so I covered all the wards by myself while they stayed in the clinic. When I was done, I helped out the nursing assistants in the clinic across from them to keep avoiding them. Later, my manager came down to see me to discuss what was happening. Apparently, they'd complained to her that I hadn't helped them at all. I explained to the manager what had happened, and I just needed some space because the alternative would have been for me to go home. I began crying, again because of pregnancy and from the inevitable stress of being ganged up on for over a year by 5 people every day just gets to you after a while. My manager told me to take the week off. When I came back the following Monday, I wasn't okay, but I was better than I had been. I wondered what my return would be like, and lo and behold, it was awful. A whole confrontation went down where one of them had the audacity to ask me if I considered their feelings when I took Friday off. I knew that I'd just turned some kind of mental corner because I just laughed at her face. I finally stood up for myself instead of just ignoring it, and I walked off to do my job. I didn't feel bad about it at all. At this point, I was about 6 weeks pregnant, and this is where my revenge began. I was pretty unwell through my pregnancy, and I was heavily protected by UK laws and by the hospital's very own maternity policies. I wasn't making much of an effort to go to work when I didn't feel 100% okay to do so. Needless to say, I had a lot of time off. Fast forward to March 2020, and as you all know, coronavirus was in full swing and we were days away from a nationwide lockdown. Of course, ordinarily this wouldn't affect me because I worked in a hospital, but this is where finally my malicious compliance comes in. It was a late March Monday morning and I was in unusually high spirits on the way to my shift. My morning sickness was finally starting to abate, and there'd been no drama for a while. Also, I actually really liked my job when I was allowed to just do it. So, I was in a pretty good mood, and I even gave my toxic colleagues a cheerful greeting. Well, I was greeted with a sharp, "You are not coming in here." I was confused because I wasn't sure what I'd done to piss this woman off when I hadn't even seen her for the past 4 days. So, I asked her what she meant. She said that she and our other colleague didn't want to work on the wards today, so she would just work the clinic and they had planned to send me there instead. Well, my manager and I had already agreed that I wouldn't work at the wards due to the virus in my pregnancy. I sensed danger and I went to call my manager. I let her know what happened, and we agreed that I would just find a spare room in the clinic and work there. So I did. Not even 30 minutes later, my grumpy colleague comes storming up to me, demanding to know why I didn't share the whole story with her. I said, "What story? There is no story." She says she wants to know what kind of deal I have worked out with my manager. I asked, "What business is that of yours?" She yelled at me, "Well, you can't work with us." I snap, tell her to sort out her attitude and walk off. At this point, I've had enough, so I go to see my manager. After telling my manager what happened, I said, "Since my colleague likes to act like my supervisor so much, how about I finally take some direction from her? I won't work with her or any of them. I'm done." My manager not only agrees, but tells me to shield instead, preserving my pay, fully paid sick leave, and my paid time off, which together took me up to my maternity leave start date. And the kicker, they were stuck short-staffed for a full year during the pandemic because my job was legally protected until I officially left, which didn't happen until March 2021. So I walked out mid-shift, left them high and dry, and in the words of my manager, they brought it on themselves. Our next Reddit post is from No Panic Prepper. I'm renting a little house out past the suburbs of the city that I'm currently working in. It's a little old and the appliances are a bit dated, but it was much cheaper than a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. My landlord lives out of state and doesn't have anyone local, so for the past year and a half, I haven't talked to anyone. I just pay my rent on time and keep doing my thing. About 4 months ago, plumbing issues started popping up, and 2 major appliances decided to die. I notified my landlord via email and written letter. After several follow-up emails and phone calls, a local handyman showed up to look at everything and provided quotes. After receiving the quote for parts plus labor, the landlord flat out told me that they would not be paying for repairs. They said that since I'm an engineer, they would allow me to purchase parts, install them, and then deduct the cost of the repairs from the rent payment. They said it was either that or learn to make do. I was not super thrilled at this response. I replied back to them saying that if they were willing to deduct the cost of parts and my time from the rent, then I would get started immediately. Thank you very much. They were thrilled to hear it and asked me to send receipts for the records when everything was finished. Great! Now to put together all the pieces and get to work. The first step was to file for an LLC with my current state. Next, I set up some cameras and borrowed a GoPro from one of my hiking mates. I was able to document the entire repair process, from me making YouTube videos of how to do things to me making multiple runs to the parts store to get the piece that I didn't know that I needed. Here's the kicker. At my day job, I make over $50 an hour. But that's just what my time is valued at. My final bill to them worked out to be about 12% higher than the quoted cost from the handyman. The landlord was very upset, but my lawyer added to the email chain has kept them very civil. Man, you would have thought that when OP said, "Sure, if you pay my hourly rate, I'd be happy to do that," some like little alarm bell would have gone off in their brain and they would have thought, "Hey, is this a good idea? Am I about to get screwed? Because it sounds like I'm about to get screwed here." Our next Reddit post is from Stars Bear. I drive for Uber in the Dallas area and I received a ride request. I picked up the gentleman and it was a good ride. About 5 minutes in, the rider asked me what was on my rearview mirror. I told him it was my interior camera. He got mad and told me to turn it off because he didn't like the surveillance. I reminded him that the Uber app would have said that there was a video recording. There are also signs on the door. He could have declined booking the trip if there was a problem. Things escalated when he yelled, "You better turn that damn thing off, or else." "Or else?" I asked. "Yes," was the reply. "Turn it off or stop this trip." I verified his request with him and he said, "Yes, turn the damn thing off or end this trip." To which I said, "Fine, have it your way, I'll comply." At that, I exited the highway and pulled into a convenience store. He acted a bit stunned before shouting, "What the hell are you doing?" I calmly stated, "You said either I stop recording or I end the trip. Since I have no intention of stopping the recording, I'm letting you out here." That did not go well for me, and he started screaming curse words at me, questioning my parentage, and although he did correctly guess my sexual orientation, he was rather rude about it. I calmly ended the trip as per his request. That was the compliance. Here's the malice. When I ended the trip on the app, I gave him a 1-star rating because we can't give 0 stars. Since he was really getting on my last nerve, I added that he made me feel unsafe and that he was an abusive rider. As he continued to rant, I pointed to a cop car that had just pulled in and told him, "If you don't leave my car immediately, then perhaps you might want to explain why not to that nice officer." After getting in a few more cutting jabs and getting out, he tossed his open protein drink at my head, hitting the headrest and spilling it all over the floorboard. At that time, I got a text message from Uber support asking if I was all right. I said that I was. They told me that his account was suspended, and they asked if I could send the video clip to him. I said that I would, and I also mentioned the mess. Uber support told me to just send them a picture, and he would be charged a $75 cleaning fee, which I got within an hour. So I did exactly what the rider wanted. But due to his petulant behavior, he got a canceled Uber account and it cost him $75. If he would have just left, I wouldn't have done anything, but play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It's kind of ironic and also fitting that the guy who asked you to turn off the camera is the exact same guy that chose why OP wants a camera in the first place. Our next Reddit post is from Free Will Hunting. This story is an ongoing thing between me and my stepfather. My mother and stepfather got married more than 10 years ago, and my stepfamily has been real awful to me since day one. Why? Because they're into all various types of sports ball, and I'm into all kinds of music. I've stopped trying to be a part of whatever they do because they've actively kept me out of their plans, and I'm just sick of trying. My stepfather occasionally buys me stuff to keep the uneasy peace, but he just never effing listens. I went from scrawny to overweight over the past few years, which means that I went from wearing a size medium shirt to an extra large shirt over the last 4 years. I've told him this, my mom's told him this, but again, listening is an issue. So he always buys shirts that are way too small for me, and I never wear them. A few years back, he got me a few t-shirts for Christmas, all a size too small. A few months later, my mom mentioned that my stepfather's unhappy with the fact that I don't wear what he bought me. I told her the clothes that he got me is too small, but she doesn't believe it, so I maliciously complied. Stepfather's birthday comes around, and we're all going out to dinner to celebrate. All the immediate family will be there, so guess what I'm wearing to dinner? As soon as I walked into the restaurant, I knew that I'd struck a home run. Not a word was said about my appearance during the dinner, but on my way out, my mom approached me and said, "You don't have to wear those shirts again. They don't look good on you." Huh? Who would have guessed? Here's the ongoing parts. My stepfather took a tour abroad a few weeks back and brought back some souvenirs. Surprise, surprise, I got t-shirts. And again, they're 2 sizes too small. Guess what I'm wearing to our next family get-together? And it's worth mentioning that OP clarifies that he's a male in this story, so it's not like OP's a girl and the stepfather is intentionally giving him extra tight clothing, which would add a whole new level of gross weirdness to the story. Nah, he's not a pervert, he's just selectively a douchebag. Our next Reddit post is from Cholera Queen. I'm a recent college graduate who made the immoral choice to move in with a boyfriend without getting married. We moved in together in another state about a 6-hour drive from my parents, who lived about 2 hours away from my boyfriend's parents. When we came back to visit, my parents made us sleep in separate rooms and beds because we weren't married. After a visit or two like this, Christmas holiday rolled around. We were planning to be in the state for the whole week between Christmas and New Year's, splitting the time between the two families. We started by spending 2 nights at my parents', then, around dinner time on the 3rd day, we left to go to his parents' house. My parents were surprised and confused that we weren't staying longer. They expected us to split the time evenly. My reply was, well, at his parents' house we get to sleep together, so we want to spend the night there. Bye. Before the next visit, they let us know that they've decided that since we're a committed couple, they'll allow us to share a room even though we're not married. Our next Reddit post is from JJ Hawk. About 16 years ago, I was working as a greeter at Olive Garden as a second job just to make ends meet. The day before Mother's Day, I was about 10 minutes late punching into work. I was coming from my primary job, changed clothes when I got there, and punched in. My manager immediately pulled me aside and said that I had to be more courteous to my coworkers and show up on time because me being late affects other people. I responded that I was aware, and I did call in to let them know that I was going to be late. And the person who answered the phone was the person I was taking over for, and she said to take my time because she was just going home and spending the night alone, no big deal. My manager laid into me. She told me that I'm not the type of person who can hack having 2 jobs, that I was too inconsiderate to work 2 jobs, and that maybe I should choose which job I value more and quit the other one, and that if I quit the Olive Garden, I would not be welcome back. Initially I thought, well, I'm not going to let you chase me away. But then I realized, this is my second job. I don't have to be here. I don't have to let her talk to me that way. I went home and told my significant other, who also worked at Olive Garden as a second job, what was said. We mutually decided that I should quit Olive Garden. So I went in for my morning Mother's Day shift wearing my street clothes, went to the back office to find my manager and said, So, I put a lot of thought into what you said, and I've decided that you were right, and working here for you is not for me anymore. She looked stunned and said, "Well, you're gonna work today, right? You know that Mother's Day is our busiest day of the year. You can't just up and quit today of all days." I said, "Well, maybe this will be a lesson for you on how to speak to your employees and how to be a decent human being. Besides, you said yourself that I'm too inconsiderate to work here, and I walked out. I haven't set foot in another Olive Garden since. OB, are you out of your mind? How are you going to live the rest of your life without free salad and breadsticks?" That was r/malicious compliance, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.